says you're live, right? Everyone sees that. Okay. We're live. Okay.
She was like, "You be having a staring contest."
All right, you're good.
Okay, everybody ready? Good evening, everyone. We're going to get started. We start our meetings with the mission statement to make sure we are all aware of why we're here. So the TCCS mission statement, it is the mission of TCCS to provide a nurturing environment in which students realize their full potential intellectually and become self-directed learners who make both pragmatic and creative use of basic skills and who understand and appreciate the cultural diversity of our society. The faculty, staff, parents, extended family, and other members of a child support network are committed to creating and operating a student-centered learning community, which promotes and supports a child's natural curiosity and enthusiasm for acquiring knowledge. This learning community will follow a living curriculum, an experiential, interdisciplinary study that encompasses literacy, critical thinking, and responsible social interaction while empowering each child to demonstrate his or her unique interests and abilities. So we're going to open with the Open Publics Meeting Act. This meeting is being held in accordance with the Sunshine Law, annual notice having been published on or about July 1st, 2024 in 2 local newspapers, with a copy on file with the board secretary and a copy to be posted to the TCCS website. This meeting is being called to order at 7:05. Okay. So the first is the approval of minutes. Can I get a motion for approval? Can I get a second?
Who was that?
That was McGilchrist.
No, who's second?
Avino.
Good.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, the minutes pass. All right, on you, Rob.
Great. All right. So before I get into my business here, we are going to start off with an end of the year curriculum presentation from our math chair and our ELA chair. The committee just met. If you want to touch on that real quick and introduce them, so.
So we will start with our math chair, Adam Fleischhauer. Please come on up.
So it's going to be a little different if you guys are used to the math presentations. Kindergarten to second grade is going to look like it normally does. It's just our benchmarks. And then for 3rd through 8th grade, we're going to present our iReady data. Because I know one big push that we talked about was to show growth. And iReady really breaks it down that way. It shows different growth measures. So again, we're going to go over just the benchmark results for K-2, and in the iReady data, we'll show the school-wide placement distribution. Then we'll show it by grade level and their progress towards growth. Improved placement by grade level. It doesn't say there, but I'll add it. Just how we did compared to national and state people, kids who take and use iReady, and how our district did compared to that. And then some action plans for next year. So for the benchmark, red is 70 or below, 71 to 85 would be blue, and then 86 or above is in green. That's kindergarten. First grade. And second grade. So those are our lower school benchmarks. For our iReady data for our grades 3 through 8. And just real quick, a review. In the beginning of the year, they take something called a diagnostic. They take it in the beginning of the year, middle of the year, and end of the year. And it's an adaptive assessment that kind of adjusts its questions as the students are answering them. Each student, it's an individualized test. So each correct answer or wrong answer brings each student on a different path. And when we look at the data, placement distribution is where students are placed on their diagnostic. Typical growth is the amount of progress most students at that grade level is expected to make. And stretch growth is a much bigger goal. So if students reach this or close to these, they're closing learning gaps faster. So when you think of typical and stretch growth, think typical growth as walking to the finish line, stretch growth more of running, sprinting to the finish line. So this is the school-wide placement. So if you look at the bar on top, that's where they are now. Below where it says from, that's where they were in the beginning of the year. So if we look at it mid or above grade level, now we're at 43%. In September, we're at 9%. Early on grade level is 26%, was 22. 3 grade levels or below and 2 grade levels was 10%, 12%, now it's 4% and 2%. And 1 grade or below went from 46% to 24%. And this includes all students with or without special needs, just the whole school. Underneath is the progress towards annual typical growth. The goal is for students to reach 100%. So the average for the school was 133%. So we went over where we wanted to get for our typical growth as a school. And now it's going to be broken down by grade level. So again, this is the same type on the top, that's their current placement. Underneath where it says from, that's where they were at the beginning of the year. And the bar above is where they are now. Underneath, by Mr. Gallo's head, is the typical growth and stretch growth. So just example, like for typical growth, 64%, 100% met that. Another 20% got between 80 and 99% of their typical growth. So the goal when we see this is the bars, closest to 100%, and then kind of taper their way down. If you look at the stretch growth there, that's kind of how you want to see them, kind of go their way down. And 30% met their stretch growth. That's 4th grade. And if you have any questions, just let me know. That's 5th grade. That's 6th grade. Seventh grade. So that's a big difference. It went from 11% mid or above grade level to 63%, and almost 83% of all 7th graders reached their typical growth, while 66% reached their stretch growth. So I know sometimes when we meet about math that we talk about 7th and 8th grade, but 7th grade this year is kind of like our shining star of our end of the year math effort. 8th grade. And on the next slide, this shows students per grade level, just the percentage of improved placement. And then on the next slide is what we received today when we met with kind of the end of the year wrap up with the iReady specialists. Is that when you look at the district compared nationally into the state, so just national, 32% were mid or above. The state was 32%. Our district was 45%. And then I don't have it here, but they broke it down by grade level, same national, New Jersey, and district, and we outperformed in all of them. Action plan is going to be developed with the lower the chairs, administration, teachers over the summer during August training. Some of the action plans I have in place are on the next slide that will kind of correlate with the action plan for the school year. So one would be, I know there are discussions about possibly reviewing a new math program for lower school. So we're going to put together a committee to review the math program we have and also any new math programs that we're interested in using. Instruct teachers to use the end of the year data that I just showed you in the NGSLA scores to make more personalized plans for struggling learners and also high performing students. This information is going to be used to differentiate instruction. Another thing that we're implementing next year is a grade-wide times a week. We'll have intervention for math, and there'll be gen ed, special ed, intervention teachers available for support where what grade level it's going to be needed at the most. We'll increase our iReady expectations, a minimum of 40 minutes per week. Also distribute the pacing guide to outline just the target dates for assessment to teachers during August training. And also we invited 47 students to the SAI program, 27 are registered. So you be 2 math teachers, target small group, one-on-one, instruction. And at the end of the program, they're going to retake the diagnostic and use that data to compare how they did at the end of the year to see if there's any growth over the program. At the end of the summer.
SAI is, sorry, if you want to just say what SAI is.
That's our summer program.
Summer academic intervention.
Summer academic.
That's your last slide.
That's the last slide. Are there any questions?
So what is the rationale for considering other math programs at this time?
Just some voices from some parents, and some lower school teachers, just wondering what else is available. I know one thing that some lower school teachers have said, it's a little wordy. They don't like the pacing of it or the order. Some of those things can be a quick fix, with the program we have, but we'll see what else is out there.
And then what will be the considering factors towards deciding on that? Because this data seems to show that it's working well.
Yeah.
So is it, like to consider, is this a good move to change it up again?
Yeah, that's something that we talk about. It's just something that was brought to our attention this year. And it seems like something that we haven't reviewed in a few years for, 7th and 8th grade we did 2 years ago. But for the whole school, we haven't really talked about, if there's any other programs out there that we might be interested in.
All right, thank you, Mr. Adam. And next we have Juliana Terminario. She is our ELA chair.
Just for clarification, were those clappings for Adam's
Yes.
presentation or for
Yes.
Juliana?
Maybe
Just-
both.
I want him to feel okay too. Yes. Go ahead, Juliana. You're up.
End of the year presentation. So this is our K-2 ELA data, and as you already know, our school has 2 core curriculums for ELA, English Language Arts. We use Super Kids for grades K-2 and HMH for 3 to 8. Next slide. Here's just our scoring legends, so you understand, because every percentage is different in different programs. If students score 70 or below, it's below average. 71 to 85 is on, and above is 86 to 100%. This is our kindergarten beginning, middle, and end of the year data for Super Kids. Very strong. Going from 25% below to none is amazing. First grade, we see big increases in above grade level and on second grade. So overall, this data is very strong. 3 to 8 data for iReady. We also, we do an HMH benchmark, but we did take it, but the data is so similar, and I think we're really trying to streamline iReady, as K-2 will also be adopting it next year to use. This is just a reminder, a little bit of a repeat from what Adam already shared. So iReady is essentially you get a diagnostic, a very in-depth adaptive test, so it's not like a pass or fail. If kids are doing well on this type of question, it will encourage them and make the questions more difficult. If kids are not doing well on certain questions, it'll scale back. So it really gets a good picture of what kids are doing on specific domains, and then it puts them on a grade level path. So depending where you are, or how you score on your diagnostic, you get your weekly lessons on the iReady program for kids to follow. So that's how we measure the growth. iReady, this is our school-wide placement distribution. This is where kids are right now. At the end of the year, I put a little arrow, like the bottom numbers, beginning of the year, and the top numbers are where we are now. So you can see 28% of students in the whole entire school were on or above, and now 52%. And I just want to make note that these numbers include students with IEPs, students who are in MTSS or being, considered at-risk students, and anyone getting any type of interventions. So the whole school takes this. And then there's just the breakdown again of these new vocabulary we're going to be using going forward. Typical growth is just keeping pace where kids should be, where they are for their grade bands based on their baseline. And then again, the stretch growth, like Adam said, is that sprinting, that trying to catch up. So I put a note at the bottom that students have larger growth benchmarks to help them catch up, so that it can take up to a year for people to become proficient or on grade level, depending where they are. So what we love about iReady is that it shows like on below or above grades, but it also shows like the growth within each student. So that's also helpful, incredibly helpful for teachers when we're thinking about instruction and how we're going to target students and kids. And then this is our median. So again, the aim is 100% and we're at 160%, which is really, really strong, and very proud of students and teachers there. Now we'll go grade level specific. This is third grade. And here you see the typical growth, like 82% of kids are keeping up with where they're supposed to be in grade 3. And more than half, or not more than half, but half of students met their stretch growth, which is great. Again, those are big goals, and they're, some of them are, they're hard. They're fourth grade. I mean, no one is 2 grade levels below, which is awesome. Fifth grade. And sixth grade. We could go back, actually, I meant to say something for fifth grade. So fifth and sixth grade here, we see stuff like the other grades, we see like huge increase in progress. And we still see progress within these 2 grades, but these are definitely 2 areas, like grade levels, that we saw less growth compared to the whole band of kids. So this is something we're just focusing on. Next, 6th grade. 7th grade. And 8th grade. Okay. Some things to consider even before going into this. iReady, when we first got it, it's very lengthy. It's not very lengthy in the sense like, oh, it's too long, but it takes getting used to. It's really, like I said, it responds to the way you're test taking. So kids have gotten used to it. It also flags when students are rushing, and there's another one. It's like yellow flag and
Yellow, orange, and red.
yeah, it depends on the intensity, I guess, of the rush. So oftentimes, if kids are rushing, we have them to retake it. And so we are having a little bit of a learning curve with the motivation around test taking of iReady. And so next year, we're not going to be having our HMH benchmark because this yields a lot more data. It's much more of a bigger picture for us. So that's one good thing. And another thing we're considering is like having all the kids testing on the same day at the same time to avoid like having to take it over a span of a few days, or, my friends are finished, I want to finish, things like that. Okay, next. Here is how we compare. So our national norm is all the way to the left from spring 2022 to 23, national year to date, what people are doing right now, New Jersey, and then there's us, which is really, really good data. It speaks for itself right there. Like, kids are meeting both their typical and their stretch goals, and using this program has shown a great increase in our academics, especially. And then I was able to get the slide for the grade specific comparisons. So you just take a look at those grades. Still great. And then 6, 7, 8. So 7th grade was amazing.
Okay, 7th
Great.
Yeah. Even with like changing
It's right there.
stuff. Okay. And then, is there any questions on the data before I go into the action plans?
When you said there was a slide that said district, you called it, that was specific to
That's ours.
Okay.
Yeah. And so then the action plan for me to do, so curriculum updates, magnetic reading is underneath iReady. It is an intervention program for students and has the ability to also be an enrichment program depending on if you go up or down on the difficulty. We've ordered that, and we will be using them very intentionally with our intervention and enrichment classes that are now 4 times a week. we've had them been more, but it's more consistent now. Yeah, it's 5 times a week, I'm sorry. And then for small group support, August training, teachers will get their pacing guides again with dates for the assessments to, put in when to take them and when to update them. Data deep dive with teachers, so we would be looking really closely at all the things I just shared with you, even in more specific domains for teachers' phonics and reading comprehension and all those things, so that we can create really personalized plans for students that are struggling and kids that we want to encourage, and just to keep kids reaching their maximum potential. With K-2 adopting the iReady program, New Jersey passed a new law that we all have to do like a universal screener that has to meet these certain criteria, so iReady provides us with that, so teachers will be getting trained on how to use the universal screener for K-2. So it's like reading foundations, like how are the kids reading, what are their phonics knowledge, things like that. And then again, students will also be using iReady weekly in their minutes. And then we're going to discuss and goal set how to use the intervention periods that we have. The new expectations for iReady, because we learned if a cohort of kids use iReady less, we saw it in the scores. So we're trying to, the recommendation is 40 minutes per week per subject. And then gen ed, special ed, and intervention teachers are going to be available for support during those periods. So a lot of planning is going to go into that. Any questions there? Okay, and then that's really it.
That's your last slide too.
What?
Yeah, that's what you got.
Yeah, that's all.
So before Mr. Adam runs out of here, thank you both for all your effort this year. Bringing in these new programs, it definitely took a lot of help from our chairs, because a lot of that work does fall on you guys, and we do appreciate your work with following up with the teachers, getting in the classrooms, and seeing how things are going. So we're looking forward to really expanding upon this, because this is a whole new set of data that we haven't had before. And I'm really interested to see how it sort of matches up with our NJSLA scores. Hopefully it'll be pretty similar. But really we do want to thank you for your efforts this year, and keep up the good work. Thank you.
And can I just really add, I just want to also thank the curriculum committee, because they've been very supportive this year. And I know we try to meet and it's been very difficult, but we do appreciate all of the feedback. Even today we met, and feedback on the presentations. We really appreciate it. So thank you guys.
Of course. Just to say to the public too, our committees are really interesting because they're a mix of classroom staff as well as board members. So a lot of the times when you're hearing the presentation in a meeting, the people in the curriculum meeting that are board members have already asked a bunch of questions. One of the things that we've been trying to drive home as a committee is just to make sure that this data, it's fantastic, but how are we using it? And how are we measuring? And how are we looking at a pre and a post to see student growth? So I think we're on the way there, but it's just the beginning. So we definitely have to continue. But we truly appreciate all of the chair people. It's a lot of work. So thank you for your work.
Just a quick question, sorry.
Yeah.
Is this data given individually to each student on how their growth has
Yeah, so I can speak definitely for the 3-4s because I'm on that grade team. All students for math and reading are getting their the whole diagnostic growth with their breakdown, and even next steps on how to continue to support your student. There's also parent login that that will be onboarded for next year. It was
Because we didn't use it.
yeah, we didn't use it.
So parents will have access to it.
Well, I can't speak exactly on the portal. There is a portal. I don't know if maybe it's iReady Pro. I'm not sure, but definitely we'll be getting updated from us. We send home the printouts. Exactly what you would see on.
And it'll be monthly or
So the iReady diagnostics are 3 times a year, and then kids work in between on the lessons. So usually we do it 3 times a year.
Okay.
But if you requested it, of course, and parent teacher conference would get it.
Great. Okay, moving on. I only have a couple general topics to go over today before I turn it over to Ms. Torres to talk about some of our end of the year items. First of those is our enrollment update. So as we have been all year, we finished off at 377. We had that 8th grade spot that we never filled this year. going forward, that doesn't look like that'll be an issue next year because our seventh graders are moving up. Any vacancies that do come about, they will be offered to those on the waiting list starting in July. I'm still waiting on maybe 20% of the families who have not completed their intent forms. So Ms. Stephanie's actually going to be following up with some of those families individually, just to get their intentions for next year. So we will definitely be able to offer those open spots as soon as we can in July. Admissions update. We're all set for next year. We had a wonderful kindergarten orientation. That was 2 weeks ago. I think it was June 1st, right? A lot of really excited, eager parents coming in. A lot of returning faces, which is nice too. But really was a great presentation. We had a lot of representatives from some of the other groups that we work with after school presented. The nurse gave a great presentation about what some of the expectations are. And then they got an opportunity to tour the kindergarten classrooms. The kindergarten teachers will be doing their assessments of the incoming kindergartners the last week in June. And that'll help us with classroom placements and everything for the fall. But otherwise, admissions is good, and we're on top of all that. Finally, the last thing is just a brief facility update. So we did have a meeting with our facility and finance committee because the project for the HVAC upgrade is moving along. But as these things typically, bring with them is unexpected expenses, where we knew there would be additional expenses for electric, but we just didn't know what they could potentially be. So the architect actually gave us two potential proposals for electric upgrades that would have to go along with the HVAC system. We opted to get pricing on the second option, which is going to actually cover the electric for the entire project rather than have unexpected costs over the next 5 years. And the rationale behind that was really because expenses are going up, and it's better to deal with an expense that we're familiar with and we know that we can actually handle right now than to not really be so sure going forward. But I want to thank the committee for coming together and really reviewing that and having an opportunity for there to be discussion about it before we went back to the architect to finalize that. So the blueprints will be coming very shortly now that they have the preferred electrical upgrades, and we've already put those out to bid. So we're waiting on proposals for that. So hopefully at our next meeting in July, there'll be a little bit more information about timeline for the replacement of this unit and the ductwork and everything that we've discussed in the last couple of meetings. So it's moving along. So those are my updates. I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Torres to talk a little bit about some of our end of the year activities.
So we had our Frost Valley trip in May with our 5th and 6th graders. So I think that was after our last board meeting, and it was very successful. I know the first day we were worried about the weather because it was raining, and it's rain or shine. We're outside. So the first day we got there, the weather was not great, but we made the best out of it. The students were still able to do all of the activities. And so that was a great trip. We were there for 3 days, 2 nights. And then our Philadelphia trip was also very successful. The weather there was great. We started in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, visiting the Amish families, how they live, how they learn. Got to see a video on Jacob's Choice, which is a very interesting type of theater that they had there. After that, they were able to eat like buffet a little bit how the Amish family eats. So it was a great experience. And then we also had some great pretzels. Those are like the best pretzels ever. That's my favorite part of the trip is the pretzels in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. And then the next day that same day, we also went to Philadelphia, and we already were able to see the Liberty Bell. We were able to visit, take pictures. So went to let me see, I have everything here. The Science Museum. We stayed at the hotel. It was great. The kids had a great time. We had a lot of walking.
The Rocky Steps.
The Rocky Steps. We have the video of them running up the Rocky Steps. So they did see the Rocky movie also, because some of them never heard of Rocky. And in Philadelphia, everywhere you go, you see Sylvester Stallone and Rocky pictures everywhere. So it was a good experience. Now they know. And then we also had Gifted and Talented. We had a Gifted and Talented night where many of our students were able to present some of their work. which was great. I want to thank Danielle Esposito for putting that together. It was a very great event. Then we had Field Day last week. Field Day was amazing as always. It's a lot of planning, so thank you, Mr. T and Mr. Dorsey, for putting it all together. But the best is the community feel, and we had so many parents there. We did have steak this year, and some other specials from Mr. Vino and some of the parents that were there at Field Day. So thank you for all the parent volunteers. There were so many parents either helping out or at this lunch area. So we really appreciated seeing that community feel, because I do feel like the more we have it, the better. It feels really great. So it was nice seeing that again. And then last week, I'm not sure if you saw in the news, we had a summer SOAR books event where the AK sorority and Epsilon Omega chapter came to give books to our students for free. It was a wonderful event. We had from kindergarten to 4th grade were able to come. They explained to them why they were doing this and how important it is for them to read over the summer. They started off with 1 to 2 books in kindergarten, and then they even went back to say, we have more, come back out to get some more books. We had the fire department, the police department. We have different representatives from Hackensack and TNET come. So it was a great event. And, I want to thank them for doing that for our students. I want to thank Mr. Kettle for helping us with the marketing afterwards. He's like, we got to put this in a paper somewhere. So I appreciate you helping us put that together. So that was a wonderful event. Very happy to see that. And tomorrow is Authors Day and graduation. So kindergarten graduation, Authors Day is at 10 a.m. and then 8th grade graduation at 6 p.m. So I hope to see many of you there. And I think that's it for events.
Yeah, it's been a great end of the year, though. I will say, I know we said that I guess it was our last meeting. We talked about how we were ramping up events as the year came to an end. I mean, I will say it definitely helped the time fly.
Yeah.
And, this time of the year, it really goes fast as it is. But every event really was a grand slam. We had a really good time. I had a great time in Frost Valley. So it was my return to Frost Valley after 15 years or so. And it was great. So I really enjoyed that. So I appreciated that opportunity. Otherwise, things have really been great. I appreciate all the turnout from the parents, and the teachers really helping out with this stuff. It really helps us finish on a really positive and strong note, as opposed to just really winding out the clock. So we do appreciate it.
Oh, I forgot to say about the art show also, because I think that was after our last boarding. We did have a successful art show. We had some parents bidding and waiting by the picture. So it was really funny, but I like that, the competitiveness of wanting to get the artwork. But thank you, Ms. Abby, for putting that together. That was another successful event. We had so many, I tell you, at the end of the year.
All right, great. So I'm going to turn it over to you for new business.
Committee update. So I think you kind of did finance and facilities. I don't know if there's anything else to add for finance. I feel like we covered everything, right?
Yeah.
And then governance has
We
met.
just had a short meeting, really just revolving around the elections and making sure that we had everything in place and getting all of that stuff together. And also like part of the nominating committee and working with the candidates to get them ready for it.
Mhm. And then we just met with curriculum. We reviewed the information that was just presented and gave some feedback. Communications met.
So we discussed our final goal of finishing the pamphlet, the board pamphlet, which Heather said that we actually do have a board handbook already. So we're gonna kind of take information from there and just kind of make it like revamp it. So we want to brainstorm, organize the book so that we have the vision. And we can include also the duties of each committee, bylaws, policies, all that good stuff. And maybe have it ready for next school year. That's our goal, hopefully. I know it's like a really long book. We also went over the committee descriptions, thank you for sending them that information. And we're thinking of having like a board table, back to school night, maybe having it in the gym where it's like when the parents are done meeting their teachers, they can come to the gym. You can have a table for us, maybe TCCS will have a table and the BPA as well. And then we want to hold off on the occupational resource guide because if we send it now, we have parents that are going to be incoming next year and parents are leaving. So we just do it for September or beginning of the year. And we want to follow up on that banner. We've been trying to get for so long.
Yeah, what's up with the
And I
banner?
think that's it.
Yeah, that's totally. Okay.
Speaking of banners, Sonia did want to mention this before too. Yeah. You'll see, for those of you coming to graduation tomorrow, you will see our brand new TCCS photo backdrop banner that is going to be featured on stage. I think it's very visually appealing. I think it looks great, very professional, very sharp. So I look forward to many years of that new addition to our decorations. It's very cool. It's neat.
That's why they want to buy.
No, it's great.
Yeah. Any other comments?
Okay, no, that's it. We did no RFP, nothing else. So we've decided in some discussion, and this is an amendment to the agenda, the survey results, we'd like to share them for a little bit longer amongst the board. And then with the new board coming on in July, we're going to do a full review of all of the data. So that way the new board members can help plan for the upcoming year. So that information will be tabled until the July meeting. And now, why everybody's here
Yeah.
for the board results.
All right. So that brings us to our 2025 Board of Trustees election results. Before I bring them up, I do want to just point out that we actually had the most voters this year since 2020.
Wow.
We had 155 voters. That's 30% of eligible voters, which is actually more than we've had in several years. Last year, for comparison, there were 79 voters.
Wow.
So thank you all for participating. I did have a couple people reach out who didn't get their ballots. We got them right back to them quickly, so that worked out really well. Very efficient, very good. And without further ado, I will bring up the results. So congratulations to our three winners. That's Joanna Beck, Enid, and Natalie. This is the breakdown of the votes. This is what will get published and posted on the website and put out there for everybody. But we want to thank all of our candidates for running. We had a very enthusiastic and active forum the other night. It was great, and it really is good to have an actual election with more people running for the positions that are available. So thank you all for your participation, and by all means, please continue to be part of the community and participate in any other way that you possibly can. So thank you all.
Thank you, guys. Yeah, the candidates were amazing.
Yeah, I thank you to the committee too. Really, you guys were on top of that. I appreciate it. We got everything together, and we kept it within the timeline that we wanted. So that was great. Thank you.
And just know if you didn't win, it happens every year. So there's an opportunity next year to also run again. It was nice to have a actual debate, an actual group of people running. So that's rare. Okay, and now it's just resolutions. Oh, do you want to go through first before?
Yeah, I'll just present the resolution. So we have 12 resolutions tonight. We've got our budget summary, which are all the bills that were paid since our last meeting. We've got the SBA financials that Tom had sent out, and that's for the month of April 2025. We've got the 25-26 board meeting calendar, which is very similar to this year's calendar. We try to keep it somewhat consistent. I will say the first meeting of the year will be on July 1st, so we can get right into the coming year. And that's a Tuesday, so hopefully everybody can make it to that. We've got an agreement for school clinician and mental health clearance services that we'll be looking to appoint for next year. We've got the stamp machine contract for the main office. We've got a couple of summer employment opportunities for staff members who are going to be coming in to do various things from kindergarten assessments, curriculum writing, some staff who have had room changes that we've designated. So we're going to give them a little bit of time to come in and move. So those are the summer employment appointments. Additional summer employment is for theater camp. We've got a couple appointments that are specific to that. We've got the needs assessment and comprehensive equity plan for 25 to 28. This actually hasn't been updated since 2016 was the last time this had to be done. The state has just been doing sort of renewals. To give a little bit of background information on this is something that every school district has to do. It's something we've been doing for years, where we have to look at this list of needs assessments to ensure that our board policies align with making sure that equity is covered in these various topics from the board perspective, from the classroom perspective, from an employment perspective. So that is up for approval. That's due on the 23rd. So once that's approved tonight, I can send that to the DOE. We do have the acceptance of a resignation. Mrs. Gallardo has decided she's not going to be coming back. She is going to be spending time with her family. So she had sent us her notice a couple weeks ago, and that was shared with the board last week. And then we do have an additional change of employment. We are going to be processing one termination for a job abandonment that I'm asking the board to approve tonight. And then finally, we do have closed session to discuss, I think it's 3 HIB cases. Ms. Sanders, yes? Yeah.
Mhm.
So that'll be done in closed session, and that's everything for tonight.
Okay, any public comment regarding resolutions? Any public comment in general? I want to say thank you to a student council member who's in the audience, Mr. Evan Goodrich.
And ex officio board member. He's
Yeah,
here.
that's
He's
right.
working.
He's here.
That's it.
And he was ready to work in the summer. He just asked if he needs to come to the summer board meetings.
Oh,
Sorry, I couldn't attend earlier meetings on other.
that's okay. When do you guys finalize the new student council? What month?
September.
September?
Yeah.
Okay, you can come in July. See the reorganization. Okay, you guys ready? All right, so resolution 2506-01 budget summary. Be it resolved that the budget summary for May 13th, 2025 to June 16th, 2025, total amount of $447,164.43 be approved. Moved by Leo Jesse moves, second. Gilchrist seconds. Any questions or comments from the board? Avino,
Yes.
Bahari,
Yes.
Carter,
Yes.
Goodrich,
Yes.
Lazu,
Yes.
McGilchrist,
Yes.
Vallejo Justy,
Yes.
had not yes, resolution carries. Resolution 2506-02, SBA financial report for April 2025. Be it resolved that the Board of Trustees approve the SBA financial report for April 2025. Moved by Vallejo Justy moves, second. Avino seconds. Any questions or comments from the board? Avino,
Yes.
Bahari,
Yes.
Carter,
Yes.
Goodrich,
Yes.
Lazu,
Yes.
McGilchrist,
Yes.
Vallejo Justy,
Yes.
had not yes, resolution carries. Resolution 2506-03, the 25-26 board meeting calendar. Be it resolved that the Board of Trustees approve the 25-26 board meeting calendar. Moved by Carter moves, second. Let's do seconds. Give you guys a second to see. Do you want me to say them out loud or?
No, it'll be posted too.
Make it sure.
What's that?
Okay. Avino, I'm sorry. Any questions or comments from the board? Avino,
Yes.
Bahari,
Yes.
Carter,
Yes.
Goodrich,
Yes.
Lazu,
Yes.
McGilchrist,
Yes.
Vallejo Justy,
Yes.
had not yes, resolution carries. Resolution 2506-04, the personnel appointment for the SAI, the Summer Academic Intervention Program. Be it resolved that the Board of Trustees approve the following SAI program appointment for summer 2025. Yansu Lee, substitute instructor, compensation $50 an hour. Moved by
Carter.
Carter moves, second. Lazu seconds. Any questions or comments from the board? Avino,
Yes.
Bahari,
Yes.
Carter,
Yes.
Goodrich,
Yes.
Lazu,
Yes.
McGilchrist,
Yes.
Vallejo Justy,
Yes.
had not yes, resolution carries. Resolution 2506-05, school clinician and mental health clearance service agreement. Be it resolved that the board approve the attached proposals for Razine Baklayan Faraz and Providence Center for Therapy LLC to provide a school clinician and mental health clearance services for the 2025-2026 school year. Moved by
Avino.
Avino moves, second.
Jesse.
Vallejo Justy seconds.
It's so, Christina, you want to comment on this real quick? Just.
Sure. So over the past couple of years, as you know, we used Care Plus for 2 years, and actually Rosine was our service provider when we were with Care Plus. She's an amazing addition to the community. Unfortunately, we had to cut that contract with Care Plus for other reasons. And while we would have loved to have Rosine this year, we had a non-compete clause, so we couldn't even talk to her for at least a year. We do have effective school solutions, which have proved very beneficial, very helpful to Anna's caseload, the mental health increases in needs that some of our students are facing. We really feel it's important to have someone with a specialization in not just school-based counseling that Anna can provide, but that whole wraparound mental health service. So Rosine has actually opened up her own practice and also providing school-based services. So we're looking to partner and have her in the building 2 days a week next year. She can also do our school clearances through her practice and really help provide some of those wraparound services to our students.
Does she specifically do the clearances or someone else in her office being that she
Her
works?
or her partner can do them. I don't know the ins and the outs of the licensing and stuff, but there's actually 2 contracts that you're approving.
Right.
One is for her to provide school-based services, and then one is for her practice to be available to provide clearances.
Okay.
And that's a logistical licensing thing.
Thank you. Does anyone have any question or comment? Avino,
Yes.
Bahari,
Yes.
Carter,
Yes.
Goodrich,
Yes.
Lazoo,
Yes.
McGilchrist,
Yes.
Valeo Jesse,
Yes.
had not yes, resolution carries. Resolution 2506-06 stamp machine contract. Be it resolved that the board approve the attached renewal agreement with FP Mailing Solutions to provide stamp machine services. Moved by Carter moves, second. McGilchrist seconds. Any questions or comments from the board? Avino,
Yes.
Bahari,
Yes.
Carter,
Yes.
Goodrich,
Yes.
Lazoo,
Yes.
McGilchrist,
Yes.
Valeo Justy,
Yes.
had not yes, resolution carries. Resolution 2506-07, summer employment. Be it resolved that the Board of Trustees approve the following summer 2025 employment appointments. Moved by Lazoo moves second. Goodrich seconds. Just give you guys a second to look at the lists. I could read to you, but I'm sure you don't.
And we have adjusted the minimum wage, so we have no issues with that. That was-
Any questions or comments from the board? Avino,
Yes.
Bahari,
Yes.
Carter,
Yes.
Goodrich,
Yes.
Lazoo,
Yes.
McGilchrist,
Yes.
Valeo Justy,
Yes.
had not yes, resolution carries. Resolution 2506-08, personnel appointment for theater camp. Be it resolved that the TCCS Board of Trustees approve the following personnel appointments for theater camp 2025. Moved by Avino moves, second. Lazoo seconds. Any questions or comments from the board? I think someone's missing. Is Miss Katie coming back to choreograph? Oh, no, Jane did it last year, right?
Oh, no, Katie has to be on that list, so that'll be July.
I mean, I could add it. This is a living document.
So it'd be Katie at 35 an hour. So we don't wait for the city.
Can we do that?
Yeah, I mean, you could. It's a. You would have to what do you call it? You'd reopen it in second. Yeah, you didn't vote yet.
Yeah.
So.
What is her title?
Choreographer.
Choreographer.
Is that 35?
Yes. She's approved every year.
I know, that's at the end.
And I'll print a new one for you.
I might this out.
Any questions or comments from the board? Avino,
Yes.
Bahari,
Yes.
Carter,
Yes.
Goodrich,
Yes.
Lazoo,
Yes.
McGilchrist,
Yes.
Valeo Justy,
Yes.
had not yes, resolution carries. Resolution 2506-09, needs assessment and comprehensive equity plan for 2025 to 2028. Be it resolved that the TCCS Board of Trustees authorize the affirmative action team to conduct the annual needs assessment and develop the 2025 to 2028 comprehensive equity plan and approves the submission of the attached plan and statement of assurance. Moved by Carter moves, second. Vino seconds. Any questions or comments from the board?
So the affirmative action officer is Sonia. So the team is made up of Sonia, myself, Mr. Keitel, and Seymour.
Any other questions or comments from the board? Avino,
Yes.
Bahari,
Yes.
Carter,
Yes.
Goodrich,
Yes.
Lazoo,
Yes.
McGilchrist,
Yes.
Vallejo Justy,
Yes.
had not, yes, resolution carries. Resolution 2506-10, acceptance of resignation. Be it resolved that the TCCS Board of Trustees accept the resignation of Genesis Gallardo effective June 20th, 2025. Moved by Goodrich moves, second. McGilchrist seconds. We wish her the best in raising her babies. Any other questions or comments from the board? No. Avino,
Yes.
Bahari,
Yes.
Carter,
Yes.
Goodrich,
Yes.
Lazoo,
Yes.
McGilchrist,
Yes.
Vallejo Justy,
Yes.
had not, yes, resolution carries. Resolution 2506-11, employee termination. Be it resolved that upon the recommendation of the executive director, the Board of Trustees hereby approves the termination of employment of employee ID number 1366 due to job abandonment effective May 19th, 2025. Moved by Avino moves, second. McGilchrist seconds. Any questions or comments from the board? Avino,
Yes.
Bahari,
Yes.
Carter,
Yes.
Goodrich,
Yes.
Lazoo,
Yes.
McGilchrist,
Yes.
Vallejo
Yes.
Justy,
Yes.
okay. Had not, yes, resolution carries. Before we get to the last part, I wanted to say thank you to Ms. Goodrich. This is her last board meeting that she will be attending. She's been our secretary, a meticulous secretary at that. And she's contributed a lot, so we want to thank you for your service. Oh, you're getting emotional. Okay. Any other comments about that?
I second what you said, obviously. Thank you very much. I know it's tough stepping into a role, and particularly the secretary job is high pressure, and there's a lot that goes into that. So I appreciate the communication and just all the hard work in your various terms. So thank you.
And it's impressive how fast you write.
Yeah.
It's very impressive.
I definitely write faster.
Okay, so the last resolution is 2506-12, closed session. Be it resolved that the TCC Board of Trustees go into closed session on June 16th, 2025 for HIB review purposes. Moved by
Carter.
McGilchrist, moves, second Carter. Just so everyone's aware, we will be not making any decisions when we come back into session. Avino,
Yes.
Bahari,
Yes.
Carter,
Yes.
Goodrich,
Yes.
Lazoo,
Yes.
McGilchrist,
Yes.
Vallejo Justy, had not, yes, resolution carries. We are going into closed session at 7:58. Thank you, everybody, for coming.
All right. Thank you.
Still gonna be-